X-Men issue 12 heads back to Arakko Point, where Summoner and Rockslide resume their game. Summoner knows that they have learned so much about one another, including real weakness and the soft spots that could cost them everything. Soon it's Rockslide's turn, looking over the being and finding he's invulnerable, except for his eyes, which are his weakness. The Summoner confirms as much as he looks over the rocky mutant, finding his rocks are a type of armor that protects the energy being within. Rockslide wonders how that's a weakness, but Summoner knows that that's the wrong word, knowing it's more of a vulnerability, since if someone knew that, they would know where to strike. Summoner says that Rockslide has nothing to fear from him, and as Apocalypse arrives, seeking knowledge. Summoner welcomes his grandfather as the other mutants leave, wanting to know if he wishes to join the game, but Apocalypse isn't interested in games. He commands the other mutants to leave, as Apocalypse explains he has built the external gate on the bones of the immortal mutants, just as they planned. Summoner knows that thanks to that, the door to Arakko is open and they can walk through, but he senses his grandfather's hesitation. Apocalypse says that when he saw the Summoner was his lineage, he put his faith in it, but before he sends Krakoa into the unknown, he needs to know some things, mainly what really happened and how they fell. The Summoner agrees, telling Apocalypse of one land of the mutants, Okara, which became two lands when the Twilight Sword tore it in two, and from the chasm between the land came the enemy. After a great battle, the monsters and Arakko itself were pushed back into the chasm and sealed away, but soon fact and fiction blurred, with some saying that Apocalypse stayed behind to prevent the world from falling and to seal the breach, but others talked about his betrayal and how he sacrificed his own family to preserve himself. Others think that something worse happened, that Apocalypse was just a prisoner to the whims of others, but Summoner knows the real truth, that the island should never have been separated, and the mutants of Arakko plunged themselves into hell that was the world of Amenth, a world filled with the bodies of defeated enemies, all killed by the black axe of the White Sword and his 100 champions. Thanks to his killings, the White Sword brought Arakko time, and with that, the people worked hard, erecting 10 towers and preparing for when the army of Amenth came for them. The towers held the horde back at the borders for generations, as mutants lived and died without any knowledge of defeat, and thanks to that, the Summoner was born in glory 300 years ago. As he grew up, Summoner only experienced the inside of the walls, safe away from the violence, and believing that this must be all that there is, not knowing what Amenth truly was. Soon Summoner's cribmate, High Mutant Prophet Idol, went blind when they saw the fall of the 10 towers. Genesis, the mother of the Horseman and wife of Apocalypse, raised an army in response, battling the horde for 20 years and allowing Arakko to celebrate their victories, but soon the armies fell silent, with no word reaching the city. Summoner learned later that the army reached the Ivory Spire, the stronghold of the lost White Sword of Purity, their greatest healer. The White Sword resurrected his armies and slaughtered the Amenthi demons, fighting until the final demon died, only to do it all again the next day. Genesis knew that death and resurrection had become Apocalypse's religion, making him just as alien as the horde he fought against, and the mutants of Arakko are the same thing to him, causing the mutant to kill the armies of Arakko. Genesis and a few others managed to escape after 6 years, returning home, but Arakko was far from danger, as Genesis was confronted by Iska, the Unbeaten, whose mutation allowed her never to lose a battle. Iska invites Genesis to a parley with Annihilation, the god of Amenth, which the woman accepts. Genesis heads to the Hall of Annihilation, which is filled with his servants and soldiers, all whom watch as Genesis and Annihilation lock swords in battle, with the fate of Arakko in the balance. Genesis, however, was soon beaten, and with her, the hope of Arakko died. For the next 100 years, Annihilation's horde battered the walls of Arakko until the towers fell and mutants died, but somehow the people still lived on thanks to the hope of a greater mutant society raised by Apocalypse, one that would save Arakko. However, they never came through the breach. So Summoner was sent ahead to find his grandfather, while others traveled into space to look for a different salvation. Summoner remembers when he left, Arakko was under siege, and now they're out of time, since Amenth marches on them now, and Apocalypse is the only one who can save them. Later on, Apocalypse shows Summoner at the external gate, telling him that he will be accompanied by Unis the Untouchable and Banshee when he enters the underworld to Arakko. Arakko. Apocalypse says that with this, his grandson will act as his herald, and he will marshal the might of Krakoa to help rescue Arakko and heal the world. But should he find that Arakko has fallen, he must return quickly, so Apocalypse might be able to save the survivors and have his long-awaited revenge. Summoner knows that this is the beginning of a new age, and when Apocalypse sees him again, he will greet him in the manner befitting not just a hero of Krakoa, but as the father and true heir of Arakko. X-Men issue 12 primes us for the upcoming X of Swords X-Men event by giving us a little bit of backstory on the sister island of Krakoa and its people, along with Apocalypse's rather prominent role in all of this. I have thoroughly enjoyed Jonathan Hickman's world building with the islands and the mutant race, since everything feels so grand and important, and it's like this hidden history of Earth, and I'm looking forward to having it more explored through this event. Again, there's this ever-present question of what is real and what is a lie that surrounds all of Krakoa and how it operates, and here it's no different, so I'm excited to find out if Apocalypse's seemingly heroic acts in these wars were true, or if one of these lies the summoner mentioned could have been the truth and he really did abandon his people. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.